It's a warm, sticky evening in Nairobi. Lindai was in her small apartment, folding clean laundry and humming softly to herself. The smell of rain hangs in the air. Her phone buzzes on the table, a voice note from her sister, Kendi. She smiles. Kendi often sends her funny messages or random updates. Without thinking much, Lindai presses play. Her sister's familiar voice fills the room, bright and cheerful at first. But a few seconds in, Lindai's smile fades. The words don't sound like they're meant for her. Kendi laughs in the recording, that sharp kind of laugh she only uses when gossiping. Lindai acts so innocent, she says. If only she knew what I told Mom about her and the money. Then her tone hardens colder. She'll never see a cent from Dad's estate. I made sure of that. Lindai stops breathing for a moment. The laundry slips from her hands and falls to the floor. Her heart pounds in her chest. She replays the message, hoping she misheard, but the words are clear, cruelly clear. Her sister, her own sister, the person she trusted most, the one who helped her after their father's funeral, who comforted her when she cried, had betrayed her. Lindai sinks onto the couch, phone still in her hand, her mind spinning. The walls feel smaller. The air feels heavier. All she can think is, why would Kendi do this? Outside, thunder rumbles in the distance. Inside, silence. Lindai sits on the couch, staring at nothing. The voice note keeps replaying in her head, Kendi's words echoing like a cruel whisper she can't shut off. Her body feels heavy, her chest tight. She can still hear her sister laughing, that same laugh she used to love. For years, Kendi had played the role of the perfect big sister. She helped Lindai get her first job, lent her clothes for interviews, and cooked her favorite meals when her engagement fell apart. When Lindai cried over heartbreak, it was Kendi who held her, whispering, "You'll be okay." Now, every one of those moments feels like a lie. Like Kendi had been building trust just to use it later. Lindai wipes her eyes, trying to steady her breathing. Her mind races back to the weeks after their father died. The paperwork, the confusion, the sadness. She remembers Kendi showing up one morning with a neat folder and a calm smile. "Don't worry, sis," she'd said, handing Lindai a pen. "These are just for the bank. It's to help process Dad's estate faster." Lindai hadn't thought twice. She trusted her sister completely. She signed wherever Kendi pointed, grateful someone was handling things. But now, sitting in her quiet living room, it all starts to make sense. The quick signatures, the rushed explanations, how Kendi never let her read the documents properly. Lindai's stomach twists as realization hits. Those papers weren't for the bank. They were for Kendi. Her sister hadn't helped her. She had stolen from her. Tears roll down Lindai's cheeks, but they don't feel soft or weak anymore. They feel hot, sharp. Betrayal mixes with anger, slow and burning. She whispers to herself, how could she? Her voice breaks, and for a moment, she wishes it were all a mistake, that Kendi could explain it away somehow. But deep down, she knows the truth. The woman she thought would always protect her had been protecting only herself. Every act of kindness now looks different, not love, but strategy. She looks at her father's old photo on the shelf. He's smiling in it, arm around both of his daughters. Lindai reaches out, brushing the frame with her fingers. "I'm sorry, Dad," she whispers. "I should have been more careful." The room feels colder now. The trust she once had is gone, replaced by something new, resolve. She takes a deep breath, wipes her tears, and sits up straighter. Lindai doesn't know what she'll do next, but one thing is clear. She won't stay quiet. Not anymore. The next morning, Lindai wakes up with swollen eyes and a heavy heart. Sleep had barely touched her. The voice note keeps playing in her mind, mixed with flashes of old memories and that fake smile Kendi always wore. But now there's something else growing inside her. Not sadness this time, but determination. She makes herself a cup of tea and sits at the table, surrounded by old folders and papers she's kept since their father's passing. The smell of old ink and dust fills the air. Slowly, she flips through them, death certificates, bank forms, letters, until she finds a copy of one document she vaguely remembers signing years ago. Her father's lawyer's name, Mr. Odieno, is printed neatly at the bottom. Her hands tremble slightly as she reads through it. The language is full of legal terms, but one phrase catches her eye: transfer of property management rights. Her heart sinks. That must have been it. The paper Kendi said was just for the bank. Lindai sits back, staring at the document. Her own signature is there, bold and clear, right under Kendi's. She feels a wave of nausea. How could her sister do this? By noon, she's made up her mind. She takes a taxi to Mr. Odieno's office, a small place tucked between two old buildings in the city. The receptionist leads her in, and when the lawyer looks up from his desk, recognition flashes in his eyes, followed by guilt. "Lindai," he says softly, adjusting his glasses. "It's been a while." She doesn't waste time. "I found the papers I signed. I need to understand what I agreed to." For a moment, Mr. Odieno looks uncomfortable. He clears his throat and glances away. Then, after a long pause, he admits quietly, "Your sister told me you wanted everything under her name for management. She said you trusted her to handle it." Lindive feels her stomach twist. She grips the edge of the chair to steady herself. "That's not true," she says. Her voice trembles, but her eyes are firm. "I never said that." Mr. Odieno sighs deeply, guilt written all over his face. "I believed her," he says. "She brought the signed papers. I didn't question it." For a few seconds, neither of them speaks. The room feels heavy. Then Lindive straightens her back and asks quietly, "Can we fix this?" He hesitates, then nods slowly. "If we can prove there was fraud, yes. It won't be easy, but it's possible." Lindive leaves the office with her heart pounding, clutching the copies of her documents tightly. The sun outside feels too bright, the air too warm. That night, she lies awake staring at the ceiling. The pain is still there, but it's mixed with something new, purpose. Kendi may have stolen her inheritance, but she wasn't going to steal her voice too. That weekend, their mother invites everyone over for a family lunch. It's one of those warm Nairobi afternoons, with the smell of roasted chicken and polo filling the air. The small garden is decorated with bright flowers, and laughter floats around, but Lindive feels like she's walking into a storm. Kendi is already there, dressed beautifully as always, smiling like nothing in the world could touch her. When she sees Lindive, her eyes light up in that overly sweet way. "Ah, my sweet sister," she says, walking over to hug her. Lindive forces a smile. "Good to see you too, Kendi." Her voice is calm, polite, but inside, she's studying every movement. The fake warmth in Kendi's hug, the way her eyes dart around as if she's making sure everyone's watching. Their mother fusses over them, happy to have both her daughters together. Cousin Musa cracks jokes, trying to keep the mood light. But Lindive feels the tension under the surface, like thin glass ready to shatter. Throughout lunch, Kendi takes every chance to remind everyone how much she's helped with the family finance. "It's been such a burden handling Dad's estate," she says with a proud laugh. "But someone had to take responsibility." Lindive sips her juice slowly, pretending not to care, but inside, her anger simmers. She wants to shout the truth, to expose every lie, but she waits. She wants Kendi to reveal herself. Then, just as everyone starts to relax, Kendi's husband, Chuka, raises his glass for a toast. He smiles, maybe a little too much wine in his system, and says casually, "Kendi, I still can't believe your sister didn't want her share of the inheritance. Most people would have fought for that." The table falls silent. Even the clinking of spoons stops. Kendi freezes for half a second, her smile stiffening. Her eyes flick toward Lindive, sharp warning, almost panicked, before she lets out a nervous laugh. "Oh, Chuka, you know how you mix things up." "That's not what happened," she says quickly, waving her hand like it's nothing. Then she rushes to change the topic, asking Musa about his new job. But the damage is done. Their mother frowns slightly, confusion written on her face. Musa glances between the sisters, sensing the tension. And Lindive just sits there, quiet but steady, watching her sister scramble to cover her tracks. Inside, she feels something shift, not sadness this time, not even anger. It's power. For the first time, Kendi's perfect act has cracked, and everyone has seen it, even if just for a second. As the lunch goes on, Lindive stays calm, polite, smiling when needed. But her mind is already miles ahead. The web Kendi built with lies and manipulation is starting to unravel, and Lindive knows. It's only a matter of time before it all falls apart. A few days later, Lindive was at home, folding clothes again, the same quiet chore she was doing the day her world fell apart. Her phone buzzes on the table. Another voice note from Kendi. For a second, Lindive just stares at the screen, her stomach tightening. After what happened last time, she's not sure she even wants to listen. But something in her says she should. She presses play. Kendi's voice comes through, light and careless. She's talking to her husband again, her tone full of pride. "Lindive thinks she's so smart," Kendi says with a laugh. "I made sure the lawyer shredded everything linking her to Dad's land. There's no way she can prove anything now." The words hit Lindive like a punch. Her hands start to shake, and she has to sit down before her knees give out. Every word confirms what she already suspected. Kendi hadn't just tricked her. She'd tried to erase her completely from their father's legacy. For a moment, Lindive just sits there, the room spinning. Then something changes in her face. The shock fades, replaced by calm focus. She replays the message again, this time listening to every detail. Kendi's laugh, the confidence in her voice, the clear mention of the lawyer. It's all there. Proof. Lindive saves the recording, her hands steady now. She scrolls through her contacts and finds Mr. Odieno's number. When he answers, she sends the voice note immediately. He listens in silence. After a moment, his voice comes through, serious but hopeful. "This is enough, Lindive. We can reopen the case. The court will listen now." Lindive exhales slowly, a tear rolling down her cheek. Not from sadness this time, but relief. After everything Kendi did, after all the lies and manipulation, She finally has something real. She leans back on the couch, staring at the ceiling, letting the moment sink in. The power she thought she'd lost years ago suddenly feels like it's coming back to her, piece by piece. Her phone is still in her hand. She looks at it and whispers to herself, her voice calm but firm. You wanted to bury me, but you just handed me the shovel. Outside, the sky is heavy with clouds, but there's a thin ray of sunlight breaking. Linda stands by the window, watching it quietly. For the first time in a long while, she feels like she's standing on solid ground. The betrayal still hurts, but now it fuels her. Kendi's own arrogance has given her the key to fight back. And this time, Linda isn't just the quiet, trusting sister. She's the woman who's about to take everything back. A few days later, the morning starts quietly in Kendi's home. She's sitting in her bright living room, sipping coffee and scrolling through her phone when she hears a knock at the gate. Her house help goes to answer it, and moments later, a man in a formal suit steps inside holding a brown envelope. Mrs. Kendi Mwangi? He asks politely. Kendi looks up with a curious smile. Yes, that's me. The man hands her the envelope. You've been served. Notice of legal proceedings. Then he turns and walks away. For a second, Kendi just stands there, staring at the envelope. The words don't register right away. Then she rips it open and freezes. Her eyes dart across the page, the official stamp glaring back at her. It's from the High Court. Linda versus Kendi Mwangi. Her face drains of color. Her hand trembles slightly as she flips through the pages. Each line confirms the same horrifying truth. Her sister has taken her to court over their father's estate. Panic hits fast. She grabs her phone and dials Linda's number. When Linda answers, her tone is calm, almost cold. Sis, Kendi begins, forcing a nervous laugh. I just got some papers from court. What is this? Some kind of mistake. No mistake, Linda says evenly. You lied. You forged documents. And you stole what was mine. Now I'm taking it back. The silence that follows is thick and heavy. Then Kendi's voice changes, sharp, defensive. You'll regret this, Linda. You don't know what you're starting. Linda exhales slowly, her voice steady. Maybe, but at least I'm not pretending anymore. Then she hangs up. For a long moment, she just sits there, phone still in her hand, her heart pounding. The weight of everything hits her. The betrayal, the fear, the risk. But under it all, there's strength. She finally feels in control. In Kendi's house, chaos brews. She paces the living room, calling her husband, her mother, anyone who might have answers. Her voice rises with panic. She's really suing me. Can you believe this? But no one seems to know what to say. Meanwhile, Linda stands by her window, watching the sky slowly turn orange with sunset. Her hands are shaking, but she doesn't mind. For the first time in years, the fear is gone. She thinks about her father, his quiet wisdom, his fairness, and a small, sad smile crosses her face. I'm doing this for you, she whispers. Then she puts her phone down, straightens her shoulders, and breathes deeply. Whatever comes next, she's ready. The battle has begun, and this time, Linda isn't the quiet sister in the background. She's the one standing in the light, unafraid to fight for what's hers. The news spreads fast, faster than Linda expects. Within days, everyone in the family knows she's taken Kendi to court. Their mother calls her, voice trembling with anger. Linda, how could you do this to your sister? You're embarrassing the whole family. Linda listens quietly, her heart heavy but firm. Mom, she stole from me, she says softly. I'm just taking back what's mine. But her mother doesn't want to hear it. To her, family should stay united, no matter what. Meanwhile, Kendi has already begun her performance, crying in front of relatives, sending messages to cousins, claiming Linda was confused and being used by greedy lawyers. She paints herself as the victim, the loving sister being attacked. But when the court day arrives, the truth begins to peel through the lies. The courtroom is tense. Wooden benches creak, papers shuffle, and everyone keeps glancing at the two sisters sitting on opposite sides. Linda calm and composed, Kendi restless and pale. Mr. Odieno, the lawyer, is called to the stand. He adjusts his glasses, his voice shaking slightly as he speaks. Yes, Your Honor. I was misled by Mrs. Mwangi, he says, glancing briefly at Kendi. She told me her sister had agreed to transfer their late father's estate to her for management. It was not true. Gasps ripple through the room. Kendi shifts uncomfortably, her hands gripping her handbag tightly. Then comes the moment everyone's been waiting for. Linda's lawyer asks permission to play the voice note, the second one. The courtroom falls silent as Kendi's own voice fills the speaker. Her tone is mocking, confident. Linda thinks she's so smart. I made sure the lawyer shredded everything linking her to Dad's land. The words echo through the courtroom like a slap. Kendi's face drains of color. Her husband, Chuka, bows his head, unable to look at her. The judge watches quietly, expression unreadable. Even Linda's mother, seated in the back row, covers her mouth in disbelief. No one speaks. The silence feels endless. Finally, the judge clears his throat. There is clear evidence of fraud, he he says firmly. The estate will be restored to Ms. Lindiwe and George. Lindiwe exhales, her shoulders trembling. For a second, she closes her eyes. It's over. Across the room, Kendi starts crying. Not the soft, sad kind, but angry tears. You planned this, she snaps. But no one listens. The mask she wore for so long has completely fallen. As people start to leave, Lindiwe walks out quietly, the weight of years lifting off her chest. Outside, the sky is bright and open. For the first time in a long while, she feels free, not just from the lies, but from the fear that once ruled her. Her name is cleared. Her father's home is hers again. And Kendi's fall, the one she caused herself, is complete. Weeks pass after the court ruling, and everything begins to shift. Kendi's perfect life, the one she'd worked so hard to show off, starts to crumble piece by piece. Her husband Chuka moves out quietly one morning. He leaves no dramatic fight, just a note that says, I can't do this anymore. Her friends stop visiting, stop calling, stop tagging her in their fancy brunch photos. Even the neighbors who once admired her now whisper behind her back. Their mother tries to defend her at first, saying things like, she's still my daughter. But deep down, even she can't hide her disappointment. Eventually, she stops talking about Kendi altogether. The house that once buzzed with Kendi's confidence and laughter now sits quiet, heavy with shame. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, Lindiwe is slowly rebuilding her own peace. She moves into her late father's house, the one that had been stolen from her. The moment she walks through the gates, a mix of memories and emotion floods her chest. She can almost hear her father's voice, gentle and proud, welcoming her home. The house is dusty and worn, but it's hers. Every wall, every corner carries his touch. Lindiwe spends her days repainting the walls, scrubbing the floors, planting new flowers in the garden, just like he used to. The smell of fresh paint and wet soil fills the air. Bit by bit, the house comes back to life, and so does she. In the evenings, she sits on the porch with a cup of tea, watching the sunset spill gold over the garden. It's quiet, but not the lonely kind of quiet. It's peaceful. She's not celebrating revenge or victory. That's not what this is. What she feels is deeper. Closure. One night, as rain taps gently on the windows, Lindiwe scrolls through her phone and finds the first voice note, the one that started everything. For a moment, she hesitates. Then she presses play. Kendi's voice fills the room again, laughing, cruel, unaware that she was destroying her own mask. But this time, it doesn't sting. It doesn't make Lindiwe cry. She just listens quietly, her face calm, her heart steady. When the recording ends, she smiles faintly and whispers, "Thank you." Because that one mistake, that one accidental message, had changed everything. It broke her heart, yes, but it also woke her up. She sets the phone down, looks around the room, at the fresh paint, the family photos, and her father's framed picture on the mantel. The garden outside smells of new life after. For the first time in years, Lindiwe feels completely at home, not just in her father's house, but in her own peace. Months pass, and Lindiwe's life settles into a quiet rhythm. The house feels alive again, the walls bright, the garden blooming, and peace sitting comfortably in every corner. She spends her mornings watering the flowers and her evenings reading on the porch, the sound of crickets filling the air. For the first time in years, her heart feels light. Then one cloudy afternoon, as she's trimming the rose bushes, she hears a soft knock at the gate. At first, she thinks it's the mailman or a neighbor. But when she walks over and opens it, her breath catches. It's Kendi. She looks nothing like the proud, confident woman Lindiwe once knew. Her clothes are wrinkled, her hair messy, her eyes tired and swollen from crying. She clutches her bag like it's the only thing she owns. "Lindiwe," she says, her voice trembling. "Please? I have nowhere else to go." For a long moment, Lindiwe just looks at her. Memories rush in, the laughter they shared as kids, the fights, the betrayal, the courtroom. Her heart aches, but she stays calm. "You can come in," she says quietly, stepping aside. "You can sit and rest. But you can't stay." Kendi's eyes fill with tears as she steps inside. She sits on the bench in the garden, staring at the flowers Lindiwe planted, their father's favorites. "I've lost everything," she whispers. "Chuka left. Mom barely speaks to me. Everyone hates me." Lindiwe doesn't respond right away. She pours a glass of water and hands it to her sister. "I'm sorry, Kendi," she says softly, "but you made those choices." Kendi starts crying harder, her shoulders shaking. "I was jealous," she admits between sobs. "You were always Dad's favorite. I thought if I had what he left, I'd finally matter. But I lost everything instead." Lindiwe listens quietly. For years, she had dreamed of hearing those words, an apology, some sign of guilt. But now that they're here, she doesn't feel anger or triumph, just sadness. "I forgave you already," she says gently. "A long time ago. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. I can't let you stay here, Kendi. I need peace in this house." Kendi looks up at her, eyes red, searching for sympathy. But all she finds is calm firmness. She nods weakly, wiping her tears. "I understand," she whispers. Lindai walks her to the gate. The sisters stand there in silence for a moment, the air heavy between them. Finally, Kendi takes a shaky breath and turns to leave. As she walks down the road, her shoulders slumped and her steps slow, Lindai watches quietly. It's the first time she's seen her sister truly defeated. Not by a court, not by anyone else, but by her own actions. When the gate closes, Lindai takes a deep breath and looks up at the sky. The clouds are breaking and sunlight filters through, gentle, forgiving, and free. It's a calm Sunday morning. Sunlight filters softly through the curtains, and the sound of birds drifts in from the garden. Lindai sits on the edge of her bed, phone in hand. The same phone that once delivered heartbreak now feels lighter. She opens her voice recorder, takes a slow breath, and presses record. Her voice is steady, warm, calm, and full of quiet strength. "To anyone who's ever been betrayed by family," she begins, her words gentle but powerful, "let them go. Protect your peace. Revenge isn't power, peace is." She pauses for a moment, smiling softly as she looks around the room. The freshly painted walls, the photo of her father on the mantel, the sunlight dancing across the floor. Every corner of the house feels like healing. Lindai continues, "You can't control what others do, but you can control what you let stay in your heart. Forgive not for them, but for yourself." Her voice is calm, but it carries weight, the kind that comes from surviving something that almost broke you. When she finishes, she taps save and listens to the short message play back. This time, she doesn't feel pain or anger. She feels peace, real, steady peace. She stands, opens the door, and steps outside. The morning light wraps around her as she walks into the garden, her father's flowers in full bloom. The camera pans over the house, the same one her father built, the one she fought for and finally reclaimed. And as her voice echoes one last time, soft but certain, it carries everything she's learned. "They took my trust, but I took back my power.